We have another big piece of news to discuss today as Elliotte Friedman dropped another bit of information regarding Nikita Zadorov and Chris Tanev potentially heading to the Maple Leafs. So we're going to break down what he said as well as what a trade package may look like, as well as William Nylander. We got a huge update on the contract front for him as executives have revealed what the price tag may look like, and it's looking a bit scary if you're a Leafs fan. You're going to want to stay tuned. Before we get into that, a quick reminder to hit that subscribe button. About 80% of you guys who are watching this video right now have not hit that button. We upload 1 to 2 videos a day for you guys. Scroll down, check if you're subscribed, and if you aren't, hit that button. And thank you guys for your support as we're on the road to 5,000 subs. Let's get right into the first topic of the day, which is Nikita Zadorov trade update. And Elliotte Friedman keeps providing bits of information leading up to the inevitable, or what seems like an inevitable trade for the Calgary Flames of Nikita Zadorov and Chris Tanev. And the Leafs are right there in the middle of it. So this was Elliotte Friedman on the 32 Thoughts podcast. So here's the current state for the Flames and the Leafs. So teams are calling Calgary about having a window where they could talk to their defensemen regarding extensions. We discussed that in the previous video about how, you know, the Flames want a top prospect from the Maple Leafs in a deal, contingent on the fact that if the Leafs do trade for Zadorov, he would be open to an extension. So that's interesting to keep in mind. And confirms again that the Leafs want one, if not both, of Z and Tanev. And there will be clarity about John Klingberg this week, and they have talked to Patrick Kane. So tons of information there, and this kind of relates back to what we were discussing in a few videos ago regarding around Nikita Zadorov and Chris Tanev. So the Flames' asking price is high, but they understand that if they do trade Nikita Zadorov to the Maple Leafs, or both of them in this case, they would want, the Leafs that is, extensions pending for the Flames defenseman. Obviously, Nikita Zadorov is a pending UFA, so if the Leafs do want to go out and acquire him, and the Flames want a top prospect, then if you're the Leafs, you're going to want contract extensions talks to happen. And teams are calling Calgary and asking, can we talk to Nikita Zadorov and figure out if we can get an extension in place to where you trade and then you get an extension done right away, like we see a lot around the league, around, you know, other leagues too, the NBA, the MLB, where those things are a bit more common than the NHL. So that's a very, very interesting bit of information. And this reaffirms again, I think what's the holdup if the Leafs are indeed inquiring about Nikita Zadorov is that they also want Chris Tanev, which increases the package a lot. And I'm not going to get into too much detail about what players could be gone. There's tons of different packages that people are proposing out there. But again, they want a young forwards, whether that's Nick Robertson, anyone, Liljegren, who's obviously a defenseman, but the packages are interesting, and again, if you saw my video from, I believe, earlier today, Jonathan Klingberg, it says here clarity about his situation this week. It's an interesting one because Klingberg, in theory, if you're trading for Zadorov and Tanev, it opens up some spots, and do you want Klingberg to be one of your defensemen in that case? And if you do, Klingberg is the guy who has the salary that lines up the most with Nikita Zadorov and Chris Tanev, so you'd think that if they're acquiring both of those guys, just because of salary purposes, whether it's 50% retained or whatever it is, Klingberg would have to be shipped out. And now you have Connor Timmins, who's on the cusp of a return. He's been injured for a while. He's a very, very good defenseman. You have Timothy Liljegren, who's hopefully making some progress. It's an interesting situation to be in. It just keeps getting weirder and weirder. And again, Friedman on the 32 Thoughts podcast mentioned that we may find out more about John Klingberg's future this week. And again, whether that's a trade, like he's kind of hinting at here, whether that's something else, has yet to be seen. And Elliotte again talked about how the Toronto is pursuing both when they're home from Sweden. It's a very real possibility with them off till Friday that some cap decisions had to be made, and we'll see a move from here. If you checked out my video from earlier today, I discussed that cap situation more in depth regarding around how if you call up Connor Timmins, which is going to happen very, very soon, simply a Benoit or setting down a guy like Benoit is not going to cut it. You need to make multiple moves. So I think Brad Treliving right now, his brain must be swirling because you have tons of roster moves. You have to make roster moves to get up Connor Timmins and call him up. You have other guys who are continuing to return. Who knows if Klingberg's going to be put on the long-term IR, if he's going to be returning very, very soon. We don't know the situation on that. And then now we have obviously more reports that they want both Zadorov and Tanev. So it seems like Brad Treliving wants to shore up that blue line. Look, imagine a defensive core of Zadorov if you extend him. Chris Tanev is also a pending UFA. Connor Timmins, Liljegren once he's healthy. It's looking very, very good. And then we have other guys too, like hopefully Liljegren comes back soon, McCabe. And then we have all of our young forwards, Nick Robertson and those guys. So it's looking pretty promising. Benoit's another defenseman who's been playing unbelievably. I want to see him stay up again. Check my video out from earlier today. Towards the end of that video where I discussed Benoit and his impact. He has been, in case you missed it, one of the better defensemen for the Leafs since getting called up to the team from the Marlies in the AHL. So let me know what your thoughts are on this. And again, let me know in the comment section. There's been a lot of debate down there. I've been reading every comment about what a package could look like. You guys didn't like the proposed trade by one of the Twitter guys, the hot stove or hot take trade. So let me know what your proposed trade would be if you're getting both Zadorov and Tanev like it seems to be. And would you include Klingberg in this trade? And then, of course, they also talked to Patrick Kane. I don't see Patrick Kane happening, especially with the emergence of Nick Robertson and how well he's been playing. You have Matthew Nyes, who's playing unbelievably. I don't think Kane fits necessarily right now for the Leafs. And I think that, those kind of talks have stalled and that he'll be going elsewhere. Who knows where he'll go? But let me know in the comment section what your thoughts are on that as we now get into even more juicy bits of news. Just an absolute bomb of news today. Drop Elliott Freeman, drop by Pierre LeBrun, tons of different executives here. So let's get into this, and there's a few different things that we have to go into here. So this article dropped, and this is from Freeman on the Jeff Merrick Show. The number has gone up. I think the Leafs were hoping to get Nylander in the $8 to $9 million AAV range. I don't think that's realistic anymore. That just dropped today. And then this article dropped here saying William Nylander's value seems to increase every single time he scores. That is something that I said every time, Nylander scores. He scored that game-winning goal in Sweden and Stockholm last couple nights ago, or yesterday morning, actually. And we were all thinking, it's phenomenal. The Leafs win. Nylander's amazing. It's great. But you kind of cringe a little bit because his value's going up $1 million. I made the joke every time they score. And the 27-year-old strong start has not stopped. And again, his price keeps going up. So that was the report today. And then we have this bit of information from an article regarding an executive saying that this team executive predicts that 8 years, $11.5 million is fair. A bit more than David Pastrnak. If you look at the internal structure, it should make more than Marner and Tavares, but it will be 8 years, 12 or $12.25 million, I would guess. Now, there was a quote tweet to that saying, good Lord, he's making more than Mitch Marner, more than Tavares. It's only a hot start. So I'm curious to see. Let me know in the comment section right now what your thoughts are on this exact number. You're looking at a lot of money, over $80 million, about $88+ million, approaching $90+ million if he's getting the $12 million AAV. The Leafs were hoping for probably about $9 million AAV, 9.5 going into the season. If they would have extended him then, now his value is just rising up because that some team will pay the superstar year. He's not necessarily a full-on superstar, but this year he's playing like a superstar caliber player. And this is another report, tons of reports for you guys, so check this out. This is from Pierre LeBrun earlier this week. My understanding is both sides keep going back and forth. They hope to get something done between now and July 1st, but it's a difficult contract to get done. Nylander has been spectacular. His salary leverage keeps going up, but the Leafs also keep dealing with the salary cap. So I'm a little bit scared. I'm a little bit worried. I do not want this to drag past the trade deadline, really. And there's been talks like if you get to the trade deadline with William Nylander and he is not extended, what do you do? There's thoughts about you trade him because you don't want him to walk for nothing. I think you keep him and you go for the cup at that point. But I want to see an extension happen. Pay him whatever money he wants. Obviously, 12 and 11 is really, really pricey. But I think you're going to have to because some other team in free agency will go out there and do that. And these reports, well, as good as Nylander has been and how amazing it has been to have him on our team, he's one of the reasons that we've won 4 in a row. We bounced back from that rough start, and we're 10-5-2 now. We're having a very, very solid season. Nylander's the main reason for that. He's been the Leafs' best player, arguably, alongside Austin Matthews. And I think that Nylander's having a better season to start the season than Austin Matthews has so far. And you're going to have to pay him a lot of money. If you would have solved this last offseason before, whenever you want to talk about it, the offseason before, you would have been in a much better spot salary-wise, and now Brad Treliving, well, I guess it was Kyle Dubas who didn't extend him the prior years, but Brad Treliving's in a tough spot now regarding his contract, because do you want to give him $12 million? He's proven to be worth it this season, but do you think that will continue or really go back to some of his, not old ways, not in that sense that it was a bad player before. He was never a bad player, but he is putting up some generational stats for him this season, and it's very, very worrisome, but it's also a bit exciting if you're the Leafs because he's playing unbelievably, but the price keeps going up, and every time Nylander scores, seemingly his salary goes up. So that'll wrap up the video. Let me know in the comment section below what your thoughts are on both the Nikita Zadorov and Chris Tanev trade situation, as well as the William Nylander contract talks, as they really have been heating up. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to hit the subscribe button. We're on the road to 5,000. Your support's been unbelievable, and we'll see you in tomorrow's video.